You're welcome to Afri News channel once again. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB and the leader of the Ambazonian Liberation War, Dr. Cho Ayaba, had a joint press briefing on the 9th of April 2021. So I had posted that video. You can check it out on my channel. This one is the post-press briefing analysis, meaning the analysis of their statement, the analysis of that very press briefing by some individuals from Ambazonia, and later to be joined by some panelists also from Biafra. Thank you for watching, and please do well to subscribe to our channel and give a like to this very video. Don't forget to click the notification icon. Remain blessed.
Tonight, we are going to be having, in the panel, we're going to be having the Vice President of Governing Council of Ambazonia, no one but the Dr. Julius Nyi, and also Dr. Gabila, who's everyone knows, a firebrand doctor, an economist, a strategist. Our brother Dr. Larry is here also. If it's not, then no problem. We have two great giants in the room. We have some of the greatest minds today in the room. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, VP. Good evening, Dr. Gabila, aka Dr. G.
Good evening, Asu and Comrade VP. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Dr. Gabila. Good evening, Comrade Asu. It's nice to be on the air once more to dissect not only the message of the two giants in the Gulf of Guinea, but also to look at their body language, the economics, and the implications for the Gulf of Guinea and Africa.
All right, let's get started. Let me start with you, the Vice President of Governing Council of Ambazonia. This is very historic. This is very unprecedented. The Ambazonian War of Independence has suffered a stagnation. Today, I consider it to be a day of reawakening of the passion, the commitment of the Ambazonian people. In summary, when you watch the two leaders, you watch Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the Biafran people, you watch his statement, you watch his passion, his energy, his enthusiasm, just the focus, and listening to Dr. Ayaba, narrating the importance of this alliance. Now, what came to mind, sir?
Thank you so much for that question. Indeed, when I watched them, I wasn't only listening to the message. A communication in itself, the message is only 30% of the communication. 70% is the non-communicable message, body language, tone, the look, the ergonomics. When you looked into the Nnamdi Kanu of Biafra, you saw that his head was around 45% perpendicular, 180 degrees, 45% tilted forward. And if you look at Dr. Cho Ayaba, it was around 25%. That in itself shows focus. When you look at the shoulders were horizontal at that straight same angle of 180 for both leaders when they sat and stood to make up their speech. When you heard the way they spoke in a soft tone. Combine the tone, combine the body posture, combine the focus in no blinking. When you looked at the eyelids of Nnamdi Kanu of Biafra was not shaking, and they were more or less looking towards the east. When you looked at the eyelids of Dr. Cho Ayaba, they were more or less looking towards the west. That tells you something. These two leaders can be related to what we call the sophisticated modern leadership style. When you look at the message, is indeed historic, not only for the Gulf of Guinea, but for two peoples that share the same heritage, the same genome, that have been divided by colonialism, but also for the death of groups sponsored. Today is a historic day, not only for the making of this alliance, but for the death of major groups sponsored by both Nigerian government and Cameroon government in order to fight us. And the Omadike one of Biafra elucidated to that. We thought that it was only in Ambazonia. So indeed, today is the birth of more space, is the birth of more collaboration, sharing of knowledge, sharing of ecological space, sharing of know-how, sharing of tactical strategic advice. So it goes further than that in order to preserve the people of Biafra and Ambazonia.
Our famous Dr. G.
Comrade Asu, thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank Honorable Comrade Vice President for the honor of sharing this platform with him. And I approach this very much from the perspective of an independent-minded analyst that attempts to engage with very complex and delicate arrangements of this nature to try and help our people to the most important thing. And permit me to start by saying that I want to commend the leadership of the AC and the leadership of IPOB for taking a very bold step to forge this beginning steps towards defining the blueprints of an alliance. And I think it's symbolic of a new dawn in African leadership. I particularly want to commend the leadership of the AGOC on this for the simple fact that we know the amount of noise that has been within the Ambazonian movement as this specific movement is concerned. And broadly speaking, Africa is sitting at the place there is the emergence of a new caliber of leaders. A new caliber of leaders that are going to be bold and resolute and focused and determined, who do not shy away from challenges, do not stay away from things because they are necessarily controversial, but articulate with clarity their conviction and take the bulls by the horns and go for the forging of alliances and partnership that seeks to bring together their collective efforts to get the spillover multiplier effect. And I think it's leadership. And when I go back to the actual press conference in itself, good to see a new generation of Africans putting their voice to articulate the concerns of the voiceless, putting their to articulate the concerns of the common plight of a people. If you look at the maps that were displayed during that interview, and I was just looking at it and thinking to myself, take away the line that was put on that paper that defined the territories as belonging to two separate national polities. You essentially have a geographical continuum of people that have a shared cultural heritage, a shared history, and the leaders took us all the way back to the Bantu civilization and our common heritage to realize that not only do we share all these in common, but we are all being victims of a decolonization process that has bequeathed upon us political arrangements that do not fit the aspirations of our people. Decolonization has created for us a monster called the state that seeks to assert itself at the very expense of the people to be representing. And I think the new era of African leadership, which Dr. Cho, Comrade Nnamdi represents, is an era of African leadership that questions the very essence of our being and the political of ownership and management of resources that define our fulfillment as a people. It is fundamental to our very humanity to aspire for freedoms. It is fundamental to our very humanity to be part of arrangements and systems that capture our essence as a people. Now, any political arrangement that serve up and fail to capture the aspirations of most minute members of any society. And any state that sets itself up to the process of decolonization to so and oppress any segment of loses its legitimacy. Because all the essence of governance and government is about. So if we sit in any political that does not meet our aspirations, we have the leadership responsibility to challenge that arrangement and to the very core.
All right.
And that is leadership. And I like what Dr. Cho and Comrade Nnamdi closed by saying, and I want both Biafrans and Ambazonians and Africans to remember that. We should stop hoping for this Father Christmas that is going to come and fall through the chimney to bring us solutions. Especially not coming from the international community. Help is not on its way. We are on our own. We either survive together or perish. And I think that's one of the key messages that I really eat from the leaders here. There's more I want. I'm going to give you final.
All right, there is more. We will get to that. I know how passionate you can be, Dr. Julius Nyi. Let us ask you this: how symbolic was this in terms of pivoting? Because the Ambazonian War of Liberation has gone through this period of stagnation. There seems to be no movement, no seriousness within the international community. There seems to be no dynamism within Ambazonia. How has this radically changed the direction of Ambazonian liberation?
Thank you so much for that interjection. To say that the tectonic plates of geopolitics within the Gulf of Guinea, including Nigeria, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea itself, Ambazonia and Biafra, has shifted. It's an undertone. This has shaken. Mind you, diplomacy and international system works at a snail pace. But the appearance of these two leaders and what they stand for, which is identical. Why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu talked about consistency, ideologically driven, sacrifice, and continuity. Dr. Cho talked about steadfastness, consistency, and ideology. These are the underpinnings of the new leadership that Dr. Gabila just said. And these are the signals that tell the international community that the people that you separated are coming together for their own good, even though post-independence there will be separate state. This is a statement to say that in the new world order, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies. There are interests. And as calculus change, so too do interests change. 3-4 years ago, it was unthinkable to talk about any alliance with the IPOB. But nowadays, it is even sought after. It is the talk of the day, because the two people that share the same developmental history, the same culture, the same political history, the same violence against its own people, the same killing, the same international conspiracy to wipe them off the map of the earth has emerged. And I bet you from our insiders in Yaoundé and Aso Rock, they were watching us. They are trembling because they know that both Ambazonia and the Biafra people have finally emerged, have finally done what they thought they have been playing around to subdue or to dissuade people from doing it. And today is a great day, as both leaders said.
Dr. G, let me ask you this. Did the president of Governing Council of Ambazonia, the leader of our War of Independence, did he live up to the expectations of the Ambazonian people?
The art of forging leadership in the kind of delicate war of independence that we're persecuting is a very delicate. And the short answer is yes. Leadership is not a beauty contest. It's not the art of pleasing the mean average thinks he has an opinion. Opinions obviously must thrive in democracy for the vibrancy of our engagement. But to the extent that people do not have the ability to identify or produce a crop of leaders that take strategic actions of the kind that we just saw tonight, then such a people are doomed for perpetuity. I commend Dr. Ayaba for the leadership that he and his team have taken. I take particular note that in the opening statements of committee, he took special attention to recognize the representativeness of the Ambazonia leadership that is in jail. It tells me that the AGOVC team did their homework to provide briefing to their counterpart about the context of the Ambazonian War of Liberation. That's leadership. You know, a lot of people can see ownership of Android phones and run commentaries on Facebook and on Twitter, WhatsApp. That's okay. You know, they are justifying the use of their data and why they pay internet bill at the end of the month. But we need people who think strategy, understand the dynamics of our current war of liberation, and take steps that seek to provide guidance and direction. Deal with the very difficult questions and issues that we are handling. And I recognize the fact that both Dr. Comrade Nnamdi and Dr. Ayaba understand that this is a first step towards the establishment of blueprint that provides a framework that would explore the possibilities, neutralizing our efforts in order to be able to find, use the words that they put it, to use every means humanly possible to resolve this that we are facing as a people. Build on what Dr. Julius just said earlier on to stress conversation to our partners in the international community. I like the fact that they said that this is a political alliance that has no objective to offend or antagonize any party, but it is driven by the need for self-preservation. It is part of our humanity to aspire for self-preservation. It's a common denominator in humanity all across the board. Americans, French, Israelites, that if our human existence is threatened, be it by whatever construct which we want to call a state, we have an obligation, sake of self-preservation, to stand up and defend that. Nobody should feel antagonized. Nobody should feel under attack. We are reasserting our rights to be human. If we lose that, we use our humanity, and we may just stroll into the zoos and into the jungle and join the animal kingdom, having lost every essence of who we are as humans. So it's fundamental, and I believe that this message, well crafted and to the DS of Nigeria and the security services that are listening to us, to the security cluster of La République Cameroon who are watching and listening to us, understand that there is no harm meant. Nobody is seeking to antagonize any third party. But God in heaven is true and has us, our humanity. We have the rights to defend it against imposition from states that use the legitimacy of the state to suppress the aspirations of the people. And every time a state organizes itself in a political arrangement that does not capture the sense of the humanity, the most minute component of that entity, that state's legitimacy should duly be challenged. Because at the end of the day, and I say it again, Comrade Asu, at the end of the day, the notion of the state and government has to be primarily about the people. And I think that our leadership is putting the issues on the table. We're asking the right questions. We're bringing onto the right issues. We are saying it's about time as Africans where we rise above the vestiges of decolonization and let it not be instrumentalized to destroy us. Comrade Asu, Comrade VP, just give me 1 minute. Let me explore this idea.
Go ahead, please.
For this interview, I went back to the question of Biafra. And it occurred to me that post-colonization, I'm saying after 100 years of the slave trade and almost another 100 years of fighting, that I should and see 2 million Biafrans. I'm not talking about sheep and about human beings. that are murdered in cold blood as a result of the starvation policies of General Yakubu Gowon. And we sleep at night, and we somehow justify that in our brains, in our understanding, that it is okay for us to murder our own in the name of the elusive concept that we state. What is the state? Where did it come from? Where was it in 1900? How is it that now? The question which we must ask ourselves as Africans is, could this have happened in an American civilization? Could it have happened in a French civilization? In 1960, could French people supervise the killing of 2 million French people? A version of what they call the state. And this is what is in Ambazonia. For the last, since 2016, we Africans sitting and mint and the resources of the state and kill other Africans. Somehow rationalize that to themselves, that it is for the preservation of the integrity of the state. What is the state? State becomes a monster that consumes the people. The people have an obligation to rise up and challenge that notion that is called the state. And that's what...
All right, Dr. G. All right, Dr. G. Let me ask the Vice President this question. Dr. Julius Nye, let's ask you this. How has this alliance, how has this joint press conference changed the dynamics in the international community?
This press conference and the symbolism of it can also be equated to our admission at UMPO. Remember in 2018, when we visited the Basque Parliament, when we went into some collaboration with the Basque, we were told that the Basque are no country yet, it doesn't work. And we explained to the Ambazonian people that we had done our research, we had done our homework, we had looked at our situation, we had looked at the international system, and we understand how it works, that you don't get to the top by playing top game. You don't play the Champions League when you wake up in the morning. You start with your quarter game to a third division, to a first division, and play the Champions League. So today's sharing of a platform and collaborative apparatus between Ambazonia and Biafra that seeks to preserve their people, to be liberated, is a milestone that is being read not only at the level of governments, but multilateral international organizations. It signals that even underprivileged people of Ambazonia and Biafra can find common ground and friends. It also opened doors, just like the Basque country did for us, that we could only talk to the Basque, and today we are talking at the middle of the United Nations. That is only a matter of time, as I said in my address last week, that this year is year of power diplomacy, that from this collaboration, other countries will follow suit and align with Ambazonia and Biafra, because their interests would be preserved, their interests would be pursued internationally. It also sends a signal to Cameroon that if you are playing ball, and to Nigeria that if you are playing ball, this is huge, and you better resolve this problem once and for all. Remember, the Secretary General of the UN in 1961, Dag Hammarskjöld, the Dutch diplomat, said that merging Ambazonia with Cameroon was like submerging a balloon under the sea. It's going to come up. And it came up full scale in 2016. This in itself, through our diplomatic contacts in the last 3 days alone, there's been just so much activity. And we knew all of them were watching, because they had said they were going to watch, to put that in their own calculations and how this crisis is going to be resolved. But let Cameroon, let Nigeria make no mistake. from the stance of these two leaders, Comrade Nnamdi Kanu and Dr. Cho Ayaba, you can see that they are ideologically driven, something that most African states don't have. Even their countries are run on a day-to-day policy. They are not based on any ideology or any strong foundation to protect the lives of Africans and their countrymen and women. That these two guys, look out for them. It's a new beginning for Ambazonian people and Biafra people. It's a new beginning for the Gulf of Guinea. It's a new beginning for Africa.
Dr. G, let me ask you this. How has this alliance reinvigorate the commitment of the Biafran people based on what Nnamdi, the leader of the Biafran indigenous people, Nnamdi Kanu, has expressed today?
I think we are witnessing the emergence of a new body politics within the Gulf of Guinea. I thought Biafra are going to find validation. They're going to find in the fact that across the artificially created borders, have a group of Ambazonians that have of Japan. Let us not forget that in exactly the same way that the La Republic took time to the extent that some people don't want to identify themselves as Ambazonians, is exactly the same way that Nigeria took time to demonize the concept of Biafra. That's relatively we used to call us Biafrans, which is armed, and armed in itself in international warfare and diplomacy, part of the propaganda arm. So I think that what we are doing, this alliance, is mainstreaming the denomination that we have used to call that our enemies have sought to bastardize and paint a negative of an elsewise aspiration of the people. So we're bringing Biafra out of the closet. We are owning their plight, and we are giving them validation. And we are telling them that as much as we do not share in this whole oppress that we are witnessing from the colonial regimes that we have set in the form of the states of La République du Cameroon and the Nigerian government, we are finding common cause in our common experience to define one destiny because of the common geographical space that we share, as we have both been victims of a common Fulani conspiracy.
Now, the Vice President, let me ask you this. Now, with the emergence of a vibrant, charismatic, ideological-led leadership from Nnamdi Kanu of the Biafra and leader of Ambazonian War of Independence, Dr. Ayaba, is this a change in the Gulf of Guinea? Will these two emerging nations become the new light to represent a generation that has been oppressed for centuries?
I couldn't deny your statements. This is what they said, each of them, that we will not bequeath to the next generation the same status quo that we inherited. We will give our next generation something better than we got. Remember, there is a saying that the fish starts getting rotten at the head. So if you have a good leader, you get good outcomes. If you have a bad leader, you get bad outcomes. With these two leaders, it builds that conveyor belt. It builds that following of new leadership within the Gulf of Guinea. It shows the people the kind of leadership that they've been yearning for. It reinvigorates, it re-energizes those that are defending their sovereignty. It gives hope to those that have been under servitude for the last 60 years for both countries. It allows them to be able to stand firm with an ideology, defend their land of birth, and die for it until independence comes. When I look at the two of them,
Bluetooth connected.
I look at the current leadership in both countries, and you find that there are total opposites. Where you find the leader of the Biafran people very charismatic as the leader of the Ambazonian War of Independence, you find a lame duck president in Aso Rock and another lame duck dying president in Etude Yaoundé. And this goes to show you that with charismatic leadership, with this new crop of Ambazonian and Biafrans, you will get what you see on the tin. I thank these two gentlemen so much. Many people were questioning, why do you do that? Why should we join with the Biafra? We are not fighting the same war. The Biafrans weren't recognized in 1961. But remember that the public announcement of this is as a result of months of back and forth meetings that these two organizations have had. And they have studied the international system. They have studied how they are hemmed in within that Gulf of Guinea by two superpowers. And they've seen that the best way to preserve yourself is to stand for your rights. Self-defense is a universal right, and the Ambazonian people and the Biafran people will defend themselves. And as they said and reiterated by Dr. G, nobody's coming to our help. The Ambazonian people will do it by themselves, the Biafran people will do it by themselves. So this is a good day for leadership, not only for the two gentlemen, but for the new crop of leadership, because people tend to emulate what they see. Not everybody, but many people tend to emulate what they see. If you see corruption in Cameroon and Nigeria, you tend to become corrupt. If you see leadership and leadership, you tend to become transparent. And these two gentlemen shine excellently in this light. I hear.
The public wants to have some calls for the two of you. Someone is calling from Toronto. Go ahead, please.
Hello, my name is Dr. Chidi Mayango. I am their friend. I on a YouTube channel, and I was pleased to have monitored the conversation between those two great men on your ACN channel. In fact, I was excited because today is my first time of seeing your channel. But I'm so excited and committed to even be transmitting your programs from now.
All right. Thank you very much. Do you have a question for Dr. Julius Nye, the Vice President of Governing Council of Ambazonia, and the economist and lecturer and activist, Dr. Gabila, concerning the joint press conference?
No, I don't really have a question for them, because mine, if anything, is just to encourage people who have not been monitoring the program. I monitored it a little bit, and I had to attend to another program. But what I want to say to some of the people that I've been hearing, some of the questions that people are asking, but I don't want to be upset with anybody, because this is a journey, continuous journey, and we've just come to a new stage in this journey. We've come to a new stage. I just want to encourage people to listen more closely. I am very, very impressed that we have people like them. I'm excited. I'm going to pay more closer attention to them, but I want people to pay closer attention to the Ambazonian struggle and what you guys are putting out there. The more they get closer, the more they understand what is going on, the more they will be able to see that we all are actually fighting for the same goal, and that is just liberation of our people. So all I have for them is
thank you very much. Your 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Your 2 minutes are up. Let's give the space for others. Thank you very much. From Toronto, that's an Ambazonia, or that's our Nigerian who called from Toronto, Canada. Let's take this call from the United Kingdom. Hello. Good evening to you in the United Kingdom. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
We all are actually fighting for the same goal. Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you reduce the volume behind the volume on your TV, please?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
How are you?
We are good. Everyone can listen to you.
Calling from. Yes, I'm watching you people. I'm calling from UK. Okay.
All right, sir. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I just want to thank God for the leader of Ambazonia and Biafra. One thing I want to say, they should not relent their efforts. They should keep on. Because the same thing happened to the children of Israel in Egypt. One day, God remembered them. Biafra must be free. Ambazonia must be free. I just want to ask the Vice President, how are you coping with your people?
Go ahead, the Vice President.
The relationship with you and them, how is it getting on?
Oh, thanks so much first for your kind words. We are getting on so well. If you tell your people that, and they know that they are fighting to defend their damn God-given land, they know that they are fighting to preserve their life. If not, they remain in servitude. They will rise up, and they are rising up in Ambazonia in their numbers.
All right. Thank you, caller, and thank you, the Vice President, for that, for answering that question. We have a lot of calls coming in. Let's take this call from somewhere. I don't know what country is that. Hello. Good evening to you. Let's take this call from Germany. Hello, comrade in Germany. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, my brother, for accepting this call. And I am calling from Germany.
Yes, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead. Either you have a question or you have a comment.
Okay, I just have a comment and just a comment. Thank you very much for this very wonderful program that you guys organized. It is actually a new development, and we all, that is exactly what we want. You know, the reason why we are suffering, both Biafrans and Ambazonians, is because we have given those people the chance which we couldn't have given them for the first time. But I can say that is not our fault, because those people who claim to be our leader are not actually our leader. They are slaves to white people, to these people we are living in their country. How can a whole president, just like the one you have in Cameroon there, nobody know whether he's alive or he's dead? Why must Africans be allowed themselves to be killed by their own soldiers, which are their African brothers and sisters? Why the European people who created those countries, who are presiding over us, will never say anything because of the resources they are getting? It is high time the Ambazonians understand that they need Biafra to be free. It is high time Biafrans understand the need and the Ambazonia.
There was a nation living in peace and unity. Hey, they are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, ideal and heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see a nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna oppress us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll and the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops underground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobuni wave was stronger than flood, but a juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my vein. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Hey. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is sign of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh yeah, people of Biafra. See, hey, shining on the wall. Oh yeah.
This is from Biafra's Got Talent. We are letting Biafrans know the reason why we should remember those who gave their life for us, those who died, that we may live.
You died to end my suffering. You died fighting for my freedom. Your blood is the seed of redemption. You are my inspiration.
The deed no longer them, military shots at them. 67 to 70, we remember them. 2016, 38 May, memory still deep in our mind till today. Wonder why they refuse to publicize the genocide. The world media turn blind eyes to our plight. It's time to arise, land of the rising sun. Let's rise one more time, let's rise.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
fall as a Bruce Mero. But the way you go like a Ababanuku. For them, they will go Niro. Me tell you what I look Pandi, what Pandi Samiro. Me tell you what I day. For me, the front and the rest of man, I tell you what I do. Me never give up. Me tell them
I want to promise you something today. We must fight together. No retreat and no surrender. We must hold them down till the end of time. The most important thing is that we will restore their pride. May your soul rest in peace.
And I look up to the sky with tears in my eye. For other Biafrans and for freedom had to die. We will never forget you as the days go by. You are always in our heart, we'll never be apart. They fought for our freedom. They died for our freedom. They fought the Nigerian soldiers in the war front without food, without guns, for our freedom, for our life, for our own good, for our children. We love them, our heroes. We want them.
My heart bleeds when I saw them slain. Where will I be now if not then? They will remain indelible in my heart forever, 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 and never, and never, and never.
We serve in your plantation, and the way you paid us back with your bloody starvation. We play in our history that the death of our people is a mystery. No going back to get to a victory. I had a voice now call for vengeance. I never get bomb, I'm blow like a vengeance.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Where will I be now? If not you, you died at Mali.
They were starved to death because of our freedom, and they paid the debt for our freedom. Flag high for those that died in the genocide, fighting for you and I. There is pain in the heart, we bleeding inside, tears in the eyes, so I'm falling here.
This is for my fallen heroes. Give them a motivation, people. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Cause we to be a cast, and it to be a us if we did not retire.
They paid the ultimate price. They died for the freedom of my unborn child. We live for the legacy.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright. Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Yeah, put the flag in the air. Never be afraid. March on, cause we are more than conquerors.